Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Joyride podcast. Welcome to the first episode of 2025. I am coming to you live on the first Monday of this year, and I am so excited to be here. I am truly filled with so much excitement for this year, for what will happen and what will transpire this year. I realized at the end of last year, as I was really taking my time to sit with myself and think through what I want my 2025 to look like, I realized that I have spent so many years in my 20s where I close out a year and I'm entering a new year, and I am still very much so in this unknown state. Like, I don't know exactly what it is that I want. I don't know exactly what it is that I'm capable of. Like, I truly have spent so many New Years just sitting in this energy of like really, really, really hoping for the best, but at the same time, like having no true sense of direction. And I know why I'm so excited for this new year is because it really feels like the time has come for me, and I've spent so many years in this unknown state, and I now know exactly what I want, and I know exactly what I'm working towards, and I know specific things that will come to fruition in 2025, and it actually feels fucking possible now. Like, what a concept and what a thought. And that's what we're going to be getting into in this episode. Really creating this vision for your next year, for 2025, whether you are in the same position as me and you know exactly what you want and what you're working towards, or you're in, a previous stage of my process, I guess you could say, where you're filled with a lot of uncertainty and doubt and you just aren't sure. I want whoever is listening to this episode to feel safe and seen and heard, because either way, it's okay. Like, I have spent so many years just not knowing what my worth was, what I was capable of, and what I really, really wanted. And now, because I've had so many years of that, and I've done so many years of deep self inner work, I am now very fortunate to be in the position where I know what I want and I know what I'm working towards. But I don't want that to scare you if you aren't in that position. But I do want to share about, my year and what I foresee happening, and, what I had to get, or what I had to go through basically to get to this stage that I'm in right now, where I am truly like, I'm so excited and I'm filled with so much joy. And it's such a good feeling because I've spent so many years just like, the goals have felt so big, like so much bigger than me. And it felt like these goals weren't actually attainable and they were just like pipe dreams. So welcome to this first episode of 2025. I'm so grateful and so thankful that you are here. Just a little sneak peek of what's to come. So I am so excited about this platform and this podcast in 2025. I was planning on doing a video recording because I'm going to start putting these episodes up on YouTube, and I will be recording them, hopefully, fingers crossed. I wanted to do that with this episode, but what I'm also working on this year, which I've never done in the past, is I was going to rush it and just like set up my camera and film something and get something up and kind of like half-ass it. But I decided, no, this doesn't need to be perfect. Like, I don't have to start off the new year with, the exact thing that I want. And I was talking about this with someone yesterday when I was in a meeting. I was telling her, because I'm going through like a whole brand refresh, and I really have like nailed down a strategy when it comes to my marketing. All of these things that I didn't have before, okay? 2 years into my business, and I now finally feel like I kind of know what the fuck I'm doing, kind of, just a little bit. But I was telling her that in the past, I wouldn't know how to do something. Someone would tell me, oh, you should do this, you should do that. And then I would feel overwhelmed. And then I would feel like, okay, I just got to go out and do it. So I would like put something together, kind of rush it, just because there was this lack inside of me or this overwhelm of like, I don't know how to do it and I have to figure it out. So I have to get it up. And now I'm reminding myself that it is okay to not have everything be the exact way that I want something, but I can still put things out there and I can still show up and I can still share with people like, hey, this is what I plan on doing. Like I plan on, posting these podcast episodes on YouTube so you have something virtually if you want to watch it. Because to me, the reason why I first got into YouTube years and years and years ago, I started watching YouTube. I think I was in high school. I don't think I was in middle school, but I think I was in high school. I would, one, watch makeup tutorials, but two, I somehow came across these girls that would just sit down on their couches and have these really long, elaborate life talks. Like someone in particular that is coming to mind is Amanda Ensing, who transitioned into being more of like a makeup lifestyle girl. But I remember just watching these videos of hers. They were like 45 minutes to an hour long, and she would just share about her life and have these like life talks. And there were definitely a few other girls that I would watch as well, but to me, like that's what I want this podcast to feel like. I really want it to feel like a safe space that you can come home to, where you feel inspired, where you feel empowered, where you feel like, okay, Rebecca is sharing her life experiences and what she went through, and this is how I resonate with it. This is how I can relate to it. This is how it's showing up in my own life. Like, I want to feel like I'm in your corner and I'm a friend, whether you know me or not, whether you have worked with me or not. Like, I want to be a safe space because that's what these girls gave to me years and years and years ago, where I didn't have someone that I necessarily looked up to, or I didn't have a mentor, I didn't have a coach. Like, I want to give to you all what I wish I would have had years and years ago, where like at the time I had no idea that I was going to be a life coach. I had no idea that I would be having my own podcast and being a motivational speaker and, teaching people how to develop their lives and grow and change and all these things. I just knew that this is what I was drawn to and this is what, I loved. So that is where this podcast is going and shifting to. I am manifesting some really amazing sponsorships. It's funny because it's something that I didn't even really think about until recently. Like, we all have this tendency to think really small. Like, it honestly is so wild and so crazy to me how small we all think. Like, God in the universe wants to give us so much more than we can even conceptualize. And I don't want to play small anymore. Like, I was thinking to myself last night, almost as a joke, like, damn, bitch, you have spent so many years just like fighting for your life. Like, not actually, let's be real here, but like emotionally and just in so many ways, it's felt like I have been so alone and I've done all of this hard work and I've gone through, so much deep inner transformation and challenges and all these things. And like, bitch was holding on for dear life and I was barely getting by in some ways. Like, yes, I love my life and I love the person that I have become, but I'm tired. I am tired of living that old life. And I'm tired of being like, oh my God, like dragging out this narrative and the emotional story. It's like, it's a new year. I have put in a lot of work and the work is always going to continue. That's the point of this journey. It is a journey. But now I see that I am worth so much more. And now I know that I'm capable of creating so much more and having so much more. So we are just going to dive into my personal vision board, my tips and tricks for you all. As I was putting together this goal list and my vision board for 2025, as I mentioned, I am fortunate enough to be in the space now where I know exactly what I want in certain areas of my life. Now, like, of course, there are things that I just feel like there are always going to be things that we don't know that we want until they show up on our doorstep, in a sense. And I am, of course, so open to magic and opportunities and all of these really cool things happening to me in my life. But, like, I know exact places that I want to go. I know that I am ready for a relationship. I know that I want to move into my own house. I know that I want a dog. I know that I want to work with these specific brands for my business. Like, I have very, very clear goals in mind for this year. But I spent a lot of time in December thinking about and really strategizing what I want this next year to look like. So if you are listening to this episode today and you're like, shit, like, I haven't come up with a vision board, I haven't thought about my goals, just know that there's you can do this at any point in given time, but I do think that it's really, really powerful as we are, in the beginning stages of the new year. Now, astrologically, like, our new year doesn't happen until the spring equinox, so a lot of people do say, like, oh, this isn't technically the new year. Like, I really celebrate both. I definitely feel like this is the new year now. It's the calendar new year, I feel a shift in energy. But at the same time, like, we are in the dead of winter. So, like, don't beat yourself up if you aren't feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm so motivated and I'm so excited. Like, it's fucking cold outside and it's winter. And maybe wherever you are listening to this, it's snowing or it's like below freezing. Like, I'm grateful that I'm in a state where, we've had really warm days. We're now experiencing a little bit of a cold front, but, like, don't get down on yourself if you aren't in the same energy as I am. Just know that for most of us, we are going to be feeling like we finally have this pep in our step again once the spring equinox happens. So that's usually around like March-ish time. Also, I mentioned this on the last episode, but Mars is in Leo right now, and then it's shifting to Cancer. All I know is that Mars is like home state is in Scorpio. So if you are feeling like this almost like drag when it comes to going after what you want, that is why, because it's in a little bit of like a detrimental state right now. But as time, moves forward, this energy is going to feel lighter. So I just want to preface with that, because I'm sure you see people on your timeline like, yes, it's a new year, 2025 vision board. Maybe the energy that I'm in, and maybe you just aren't feeling like that's really applicable to you in your life. That is okay. That is okay. I just at least want you, if you're listening to this episode, to really take some time to think through what you want this year to look like and feel like and be like for you. If you don't know specific things, that is okay. Revert to a feeling. Do I want to feel peaceful? Do I want to feel energetic? Do I want to feel happy? Do I want to feel calm? Like, if we don't know a specific thing, we can always come back to a feeling, because that's what everything does for us. Like, the new car comes back to a feeling. The new house comes back to a feeling. The money that we see in our bank account comes back to a feeling. You get what I'm saying here? So I wanted to remind you of that. Also, I realized this last year as I was walking through my process of creating a vision board with one of my really close friends. I told her, if you don't know exactly what it is that you want, don't put it on your vision board. I have spent so many years just like, back in the day where you would make the vision board and you'd go to like the dollar store. That's what I did. Or you go to Michael's and you get the whole you get the board and then you get all these magazines and you cut out clippings. Now, I think that can still be a very fun girls' night activity to do, but that's not my preferred way of doing things now. My preferred way is really taking time to think through what exactly it is that I want, and then take the time to pull very specific images, whether that's from Instagram, from Pinterest, or maybe it's from a magazine. pull out those exact images and then put them on my vision board. I don't put dates on my vision board. That doesn't really do it for me. I know exactly what it is that I want, and I have pictures, and I create a digital vision board on Canva. That's what I did this year. Last year, I didn't know exactly what I wanted because I was still sitting in this unknown in-between space. So actually what I did, and what I do recommend for some of you, is put together a vision board of people that you look to for inspiration. These are people that emulate, whether it's like an energy that they bring or their profession. Like for me, I had different pictures of women, and they all resembled a different type of energy or frequency. So I had like Kim Kardashian on there. To me, she represents just like power. This is a woman who can literally do whatever the fuck she wants. She can get whatever she wants. I had Roxy Nafousi on there, who I love, who to me is like my biggest inspiration right now. To me, she represents like just the epitome of being, you know, a motivational speaker and a motivational coach. I had Mimi Bouchard on there. She is in a beautiful relationship. She has an extraordinary house in London. To me, she represents elegance and grace and just like true richness. I just had so many different women on there. I also included myself on there because I felt like, listen, if I'm going to put these women on there, like I'm going to be in good company. And it was really nice to have this, you know, my ideal vision board for 2024 as a background on my phone, because every time I would see it, I would be like, yeah, like I'm getting there. Like I'm not quite there yet. Of course, I'm like, you know, me compared to Kim Kardashian, like what? But, you know, it felt nice to feel like, okay, these are my people and these are the women that I'm looking to, you know, emulate and like embody their energy. So that is one version of a vision board that I highly recommend you do if you are very unsure or very unclear of what you want. I promise you that there are at least like 2 to 5 people that you look up to in your life that you sit here and you can think to yourself like, oh, I would like to do something that they're doing. Maybe it's a famous athlete or a celebrity or an author or a musician or an actress. Like, I'm sure that there are a few people that you could put on some type of vision board. Or maybe you want to make some type of like wish list. I think that when it comes to vision boards, the problem is what we've all heard before is this is the exact way that you have to do it. And if you don't do it this way, your dreams are not going to come true. Listen, when I first found out about human design and I found out that I was a passive manifester, that I had an open G center, that like someone like me, it's actually really hard for me to connect to exactly what it is that I want. I was like, yeah, fuck the vision boards. Like I always make them and then I never look at them again. And I realized that it was just the way that I was conditioned to make a vision board. And like everything that I'm sharing with you is what I've done in the past, what's helped me or what hasn't helped me, because I have made these vision boards in the past where I did feel very inferior. I felt very boxed in. I almost felt like, okay, I'm putting this stuff on my vision board, but I don't even really feel connected to it. I don't feel like I'm worthy of it. And it just didn't do anything for me. I didn't look at the boards again. I, enjoyed the experience of creating them. But then I didn't, what's the point if you're just going to create something for the moment and then never look at it again? So now this year, like I said, I really took all of December to really think through what exactly is it that I want to be putting on this vision board. And listen, you can create one for every month. You can create one for every quarter. There are truly no rules to this. It's whatever makes you feel just really connected and really in alignment to this thing that you are creating, because it's yours at the end of the day. You don't have to show it to anyone. Like, I always thought, oh, well, what if I put it as my screensaver on my computer and someone sees it when I'm at a coffee shop? It's like, who fucking cares? This vision board is for me and it's for no one else. So I created the vision board. And then I'm also still working on creating a 2025 goals list. I actually saw someone share about this on Instagram, a girl who, she's not a coach, but she shares a bunch of like personal development like things. And she said that every year she writes out 100 goals for herself. Now, I don't know, I was working on it last night and I couldn't even come up with maybe like 30. That's why I'm giving myself maybe until the end of January or maybe over the next like week or two to really get granular and specific with these goals. But I would say like a good 20 or 30 is a great starting point, because remember, you can always add to this list. You can always change the vision board. Like, just because you make it now does not mean that you can change things in a month, because your mind is going to change. What you want is probably going to change over the course of the year, right? It's like, if we aren't changing, something's kind of wrong here. So that's what I did. That's what I'm working on. Is I have my vision board, but I'm also creating this 2025 goals list. And then in addition to that, I am going to include the link to my 2025 life audit. So this is something that I created for my coaching clients. I am going to be doing this myself throughout the month of January, but this I think is going to help you if you're feeling stuck as to like, what is it that I want for 2025? What should I be putting on a vision board if you want to do one? Again, because you don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. But this helps you really zoom in and get crystal clear on every single aspect of your life. We're going over health. We're going over purpose. We're going over career, personal relationships, romantic relationships, your workouts, like your connection to God and spirituality, service, like it goes over every aspect of your life. And we zoom in on, where am I right now? Am I happy with where I am right now? And where do I want to go? I find that this is easier to break our life down into like certain compartments or departments instead of just like looking at it as a whole, because you may be very, very fulfilled in one or two aspects of your life, but maybe in the other aspects of your life, you're like, shit, like I'm missing some stuff here. And I know that I'm not living the life that I really want to be living. So I am gifting you all this because I think it's so important in order to truly change your life. If I learned one fucking thing in 2024, it's that you have to confront yourself and you have to be honest with yourself. You guys, I was so scared of being honest with myself in the areas of my life where I was really lacking. Like, not the areas that I truly felt like I was excelling at, because I have excelled in several areas of my life, but there are also several areas of my life where a lot of work is being done in order to get different results. And I realized last year, because it was such an honest and confronting year for me, that if I want to change the way that my external reality looks, I have to be honest with myself. And I have to say, Rebecca, like, you can't be doing this anymore. You can't be thinking this way. You can't be engaging in these certain habits or actions. Like, that is where the true change stems from. So yes, creating the vision board is amazing and having goals and having something visual, but this life audit is really, really going to help you peel back those layers and start to get a little more comfortable with being uncomfortable with yourself. I always remind myself of this when I'm sitting in this space of, this is really uncomfortable for me. I don't know how to do this. This is the way that I've done this before, and I know that I want change. It feels very overwhelming. Like, there's no one else but you here. Like, you're just sitting with yourself. You're just talking to yourself. That's what really, really helps me. Of course, you can hire help, whether that's via a counselor, a therapist, a life coach, to help you and support you along this journey. And of course, we can gain help from, our partner and our friends and our parents. But like, to first be able to sit with yourself in this space and admit to yourself, okay, this is the way that my finances are looking, and in 2025, I want them to look drastically different. That's an example for me. I had to sit with myself and I have to be honest with myself. Or maybe you're feeling like, the friend group that I hang out with, like every time I'm around them or every time I leave after hanging out with them, I just don't feel really good about myself. You got to be honest about that, because that's the first step, having that self-awareness. So that life audit is going to help so much with that. So creating some type of vision board or some type of goal list, again, even if you're experiencing a phase of your journey where you're feeling like I am just confused and there's not a lot that I know that I want, start with the things that you don't want. It's actually so much easier. I have found in my own personal experience and with clients, it is actually a lot easier for us to, get clear about what we don't want to experience rather than what we do want to experience. So start off with listing out and writing out all of the things that you do not want to be a part of your 2025, okay? Whether these are things that you have done in the past or things that you see other people do. Like, I have really started to recognize that over the past few years. There are just traits and habits and things that I notice that people do, and I'm like, ooh, I don't like that. Like impatience and people being super reactive. So because I'm able to witness that in someone else, I know for myself, like that is not how I want to react. So, take this time in January, even if it bleeds over to February, that's totally fine. Like there is no timeline here. This is your year. You are in charge of the way that this year is going to pan out. That's really it. So that is what I want to share with you about vision boards and having, a goal setting list and writing out what you do want, what you don't want. Starting the year with some type of clarity, with some type of direction, even if your year changes directions a million times, because Lord knows my years have looked like that. So I will share some of my goals and desires for this year because I'm really, really excited about them. And I just know that this shit is possible now. Like I said before, like I've done so much work and I always harp on doing the work and doing the work and doing the work. But like I have spent so many years doing the work. And because of that, I'm now in this place where I actually feel worthy and I see my value, and I would not be in the position that I'm in right now if I hadn't done the work and I hadn't gone through these experiences. And even though I do believe that at any point in given time, you can change the trajectory of your life, I do really believe in the fact that like timing is just a huge part of this. Like I'm so grateful that I spent most of my 20s being all about Rebecca and figuring out what I was good at, what I was not good at, what I like to do, what I don't like to do. Now I'm moving into, the last year of my 20s. I'm going to be 30 this year. And I'm like, okay, I've excelled in these areas. Amazing. Like I don't put those areas on my vision board because I already know that they're going to happen. I want to put the things on my vision board that I know are going to challenge me, that I know that it's going to take a lot of work in order to change this, but I'm really, really good at doing the internal work. And I think that's something that needs to be talked about more. When doing the internal work, you get to this point where it becomes very natural for you. Like the external results do show up. It's all about where are we like channeling that internal work. So like I have spent many, many years of my life, figuring out the best like health and wellness practices for me, like emotional regularity, my connection to God and spirituality. I feel incredibly blessed that I have this very, very strong and safe connection to myself. But now, moving into 2025, I know that my love life and my career and profession and the way that I view money, I know that I want it to drastically change. Like this year, as I mentioned before, I am fully ready to invest myself in a romantic partnership and relationship. I felt like I was ready in the past, but I wasn't. Because I would tell myself, I have to do more work, I have to do more work, I have to do more work. And that definitely wasn't fair, but I'm now in this position where I've done so much work. And like I mentioned, I'm going to continue to do more work because that's just what happens when you get into a relationship. It's like, whoa, a mirror, and it's going to show you all of your shadows and even more of your shit. But now I'm ready for it, and I'm welcoming that energy in. And I now know, like, listen, I've done a lot of work, and like, I'm ready now, and I don't have to be perfect, and I don't have to look this certain way. I don't have to make this amount of money, because I'm now changing things in my life in order to show up as this woman that is very, very proud of herself, where a man can look at me and be like, yeah, I'm proud of this woman. Because before, internally, I didn't feel like I was worthy of that. Like, I really, really didn't. Even though I wanted it, I didn't feel like I was worthy of it. So that's a good reminder and reflection for you for anything in your life. You can want something really, really, really badly, but if you don't actually feel like you are worthy of receiving that thing, you're not going to get it. That's just not how it works. So really, I was thinking to myself this morning, like, what I am prioritizing this year above all else is my future man's, my future relationship, because I know that that will come into fruition this year, and my profession, and really, really treating what I do as, this is my profession, this is my career, this is how I make money, this is how I support myself. Because for the past few years, it was just a lot of like, I'm trying to do this and I don't really know how it's going to work out. I know that I like it and I know that I'm good at it, but now I'm like, I want to show up in every room, in every conversation, and say, I'm Rebecca Joy, I'm a self-development coach, and this is what I do. And feel really, really proud of that. And because I now have this new belief system, I also know that I look forward to being in this position where I feel really, really safe in the profession that I'm in, where I can make really, really good money. And I am able to create this safe, secure foundation for myself where I am able to save a lot of money for a house, where I'm able to invest my money, where I'm able to grow my money, where I'm able to spend money on the things that I want to be spending it on and not feel shame and not feel guilty. And I am so crystal clear on these two main aspects of my life. Of course, in addition to that comes, growing my businesses, growing my personal brand. That is a huge goal of mine. Like, I know that I want to be very, very well known. I want to grow my, numbers on social media. I want to be an authority figure on social media. I want someone that people know about and come to when it comes to personal development, but also just like a friend and a laugh and good advice and someone that they can really, really lean on and always come back to. I know that I want to be that person for so many people. And I really had to sit with myself last year and talk myself through my personal boundaries and my professional boundaries, because we all only have so much time in the day. We all only have so much energy to give to people. So I also had to have this conversation with myself and really say, like, where do I want my energy to go? I love and adore the relationships in my life, and they do mean a lot to me. But I also know that I, in the past, have really just given way too much of myself to clients and friends, and like, I didn't have very clear boundaries. And I believe when it comes to boundaries, we have to create some sense of structure and control in every aspect of our life in order for the energy to really, really flow. So, for like, it's easy for me to talk about workouts, maybe you are not someone that is ready to be on a type of workout program, but that moving your body makes you feel really, really good, because of course, moving your body and working out is so good for you in every aspect of your life. So like, I've gone through different phases before where I'm on a workout plan, and because of that, I'm super disciplined, and even if I don't have the motivation, I show up. And then there are phases where, I want to give myself a little more grace, but I know that working out is really, really good for me. So I do, I don't stop working out, But I tell myself, it's okay to just go in the gym and play. It's okay to like go to a class and, I don't need to be on this specific regimen. So really, take a step back and look at your life. Where do I need to infuse more boundaries, a little bit, more quality control in order for there to be flow there? I've also started to turn off my phone for a few hours a day, which I mentioned in the last episode, I think. It has really, really helped me disconnect, whether I'm working on stuff for work or I just feel like, sometimes I just feel like people are just bugging me, even though I know that they're not. But to me, turning off my phone is the best way for me to disconnect. It stops me from scrolling mindlessly on Instagram or LinkedIn or checking my emails every hour, because I realized at the end of 2024, like, because I'm alone and I spend a lot of time alone, I'm going to these apps because I'm wanting some type of connection, which I don't think is a bad thing, but I can connect to myself in different ways. I can read a book, I can go on a walk, I can just like sit in that space. Of course, I can call a friend or do something with someone, but turning off my phone has helped me immensely when it comes to just like disconnecting from the world. So yeah, I'm trying to think of what else I want to share. I don't need to go into every single specific desire and goal of mine because, you don't need to know that. The point of this episode is for me to inspire you, to empower you to, let this year really be the year where you take accountability, whether you are ready to be making these drastic changes in your life, or you're just at the beginning of that journey and you're like, okay, this is the year where I really want to work on taking the time to sit with myself and, become more self-aware and get to know myself at a deeper level. We can't compare our journey to someone else's. Like I mentioned before, I have spent so many years coming into this new year with like big dreams and big goals, but I actually didn't feel like they were attainable at all. And I'm in a different position now, but I can look back on those years and I know that I had to go through those experiences for a reason. And I do believe that, from year to year, your life is going to look different. You're going to have years that, give you more internal change. Last year was a big year of internal transformation for me. I went on trips. I changed my body. There were external changes that happened, but because of that, I do really feel like this year now I will be experiencing massive external changes because I had a very, very internal year. Big goals and desires of mine this year, as I mentioned, are to move. I've been in the same place for a few years. I really feel like I've outgrown it and I'm ready for it, to secure or to create, financial security and stability for myself because I've never had that in my 20s, to be in a, very loving, loyal, nourishing, romantic relationship, to really scale and excel and grow in my career. So I hope that this episode has inspired you and empowered you to take accountability over this next year. It's a 9-year, so I know that this is going to be a year for a lot of people where like massive change and transformation is going to take place. This is a big year about releasing and reflecting and realigning. Like 9 symbolizes the end of a chapter, big transformations are on the way. Next year will be in a 1 year. So 1 symbolizes initiation and new and beginning. So intuitively, I feel like this is the year for a lot of us where we're gonna be experiencing the new earth and like our new life, but we're gonna be getting tastes of it. Like things definitely will be taking place this year, big changes. But next year is going to be the year where it's like we're fully immersed in it. So this year kind of feels like the warm up or almost like the pregame. It's like we're stepping into it. We're stepping into the new life. But next year's the year where it's like we are fucking in this bitch. You know what I'm saying? So that is all that I have for you in this first episode of 2025. Look out for the new video episodes, which will be launching on YouTube very, very soon. I am so grateful for you being here, for being a listener. As always, if you feel compelled and you feel like this episode brought you some type of value, I would love for you to share it within your personal network. If you haven't done so already, I would love for you to rate this podcast on either Spotify or Apple Podcasts. I will leave all of my links down below, in addition to the 2025 life audit. I'm just so excited for this year, so excited that you are here with me on this journey. And that is all that I have for you. I will see you in the next episode. Bye.